I know each of you kind of has your own title. You're kind of like the Avengers or the Power Rangers or something with your own special skills and stuff. So, so if you could just introduce yourselves, please, that'd be great. Thank you.
So I'm Lindsay Leahy, the founder of the Restoration Project. My official title is Dream Builder, so I'm kind of in charge of strategic direction and dreaming the big dreams for our group, having all the ideas, and then getting feedback from the team about where we're going and what we're doing. And grateful to be here.
Yeah. Hello, Brooke Fitzgerald. I'm a partner with the Restoration Project. I joined alongside Lindsay in May of 2020. And I am the energy builder for our crew. So I bring all the fun energy. Yeah, help everyone stay motivated, inspired, and the like.
Challenges us on what's reasonable and realistic on a regular basis. So that's good. We're a good duo that way.
Hi, Sam. I'm Sarah Watson. I am the creator of Calm at the Restoration Project. So that means that I support our coaches and our whole team just in their day-to-day action. I do a lot of behind the scenes work, making sure that all of our tools, our systems, and our processes are working, functioning, and getting better every day, every month. And as Brooke likes to joke, Lindsay and Brooke are flying the plane, and I'm keeping the train on the tracks.
Truth.
I love it. Hi, Sam. I'm Heidi Goettsch, and I'm a coaching consultant, the vision builder for the Restoration Project. So my primary focus is supporting clients to live with meaning and holistically from an organization and individual perspective.
I'm Kim Laughridge. I am the newest member to the Restoration Project and our resident courage builder. I just believe wholeheartedly in showing up authentically as yourself and saying the things that need to be said, even if they're hard, and even if the people on the other side aren't quite ready to hear them, but then working through that alongside with them and just helping other people show up authentically as themselves.
Hi, Sam. I'm Jessica Johnson, and my official title is Community Builder, but I focus on business development, building strategic partnerships, some of the events that we've launched recently. So a little bit of all of those things, and just really excited to be here with you, and the whole team's on Zoom. Yay!
That's great. I'm so excited that all of you are here. So thank you so much for taking the time. I'm interested about the origin of the name. What's being restored, and why is that important and meaningful to you?
Yeah. Well, the funny story is I've been in a sales career for most of my life, and at one point just felt this strong call. I actually started having dreams about Moses, and I just felt this strong call from God to serve in a different way. And I came home and told my husband that I thought I was being called to be a missionary. And he said, maybe take some time to explore what this actually is. And so I took a few months off and hired some coaches myself to help me work through what is this idea. And that word restoration kept coming up. And the dots that I connected in that journey of just kind of, we call it wandering the pathless path, like not really knowing, but wading into what is this dream and what could it be? I connected the dots that my experience, especially in corporate America, had been that a lot of leaders don't understand who they are. And there's parts of us as we're walking through the world, and especially in an organization where we're leading people, there are behaviors that we're unaware of, experiences, perceptions, biases that we have. That when we're unaware of those, we sometimes unintentionally hurt ourselves or hold ourselves back or hurt other people. And so that was the original intent of the Restoration Project, was to help people kind of evaluate who am I in my deepest and truest form of my identity, and what are my deepest and truest intentions, and then figure out how do I live more in alignment with those things. And as we started the journey, then that applied well to organizations too. Especially coming out of the pandemic, we've been invited into so many organizations where they're reevaluating what's working, what isn't, what are we really trying to do here, what's the purpose, and how do we get people aligned to that. So we have an organizational restoration process and an individual restoration process, and it's really about helping people reach their full potential. It doesn't mean that we're broken or anything is bad, but it's just we are really pursuing working with those clients that want to be the best they can be, and do the best they can do. And so that's it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's an inspiring story. And it seems like a real calling. And it seems like you found some partners that really believe in that vision. So I think maybe we could go in order of joining the team, starting with you, Brooke. Like, what brought you to the restoration project? How did you come into this line of work?
I had just recently came off of 9 years of owning my own coffee shop in downtown Cedar Rapids. And I was also simultaneously in the last few years of owning that, selling commercial real estate for Skogman, and knew that I was not in the right place with selling commercial real estate. After closing the coffee shop, I really did not know who I was and what I was really supposed to be doing here. I knew that what I was doing wasn't it, but I was really lost in figuring out, like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I
on this
here?
planet?
What's happening? Now, simultaneously, the pandemic, March and April 2020, we were in lockdown. Throughout that process, I had several pretty honest conversations with God, which was a relationship that I had not paid attention to for quite a long time. And I had just said, like, I need your help. I don't know what I'm doing and why I'm here. So I'm going to listen and just surrender and be open to opportunities and the communication that you give me. And several people had been reaching out for me to mentor them or coach them through transitions, relationships, etc. And I just kind of took that as like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to be doing this. And Lindsay and I had been walking in my neighborhood during COVID and having conversations about the restoration project and all of her success and growth and what she was experiencing. And one day it just came out of my mouth without any real preparation. I just said, I think I want to partner with you and see where this goes together.
We've all been on some version of the quit bus, and I love to celebrate the quit bus because I've quit and left things a couple times in my life. And up till the point where I was about, in my mid 30s of career, I had never quit anything. Right? So leaving something behind, whether it was a good team or a toxic team, is very hard, especially when you're trained or it's ingrained in you that you don't quit, you don't give up, stick it out, get through it. So I had quit corporate. I spent some time in nonprofit work. And then the second ride on the quit bus, I left nonprofit, not because I didn't enjoy it. I loved my team. I loved the mission of what I was doing. But my daughter was starting kindergarten, and I simply wanted to be able to pick her up from school and take her to school. I was really bummed. I was devastated to leave a very good team. And so I was reaching out to my network, and I decided that I wanted to try out VA work, which is virtual assistant. So I reached out to Lindsay and I said, I'm exploring this. I think I want to try VA work. I have some ideas, and I'm really looking for a couple of good leads on who I might be able to work with or who I could serve in this type of work. And she looked right at me and said, well, I could use some help. And I said, okay, great.
And it seems like the upheaval of the past couple of years has created both an opportunity for all of you to team up with one another and also increase the need for this type of a business. To help others.
That's really what we're trying to model, Sam, is like, how do you figure this out so that we can fully show up and honor that all of this comes together, work and life, and how do we do it in a way that we could still deliver on a really cool mission and do this in a really cool way, in a way that allows us to each own the seasons in our lives that we're in and have the priorities that we have. And so we try to model that.
So May of 2021 is when I joined the Restoration Project. Prior to that, I spent almost 20 years in corporate America. And in the meantime, I had started my family. And so I felt like, in the midst of my corporate career and giving myself to corporate America, I felt like I lost myself even a little bit more with becoming a mom and not knowing exactly who Heidi Goettsch was, until I really spent time reflecting and understanding, and took a few assessments of my own to really uncover and unravel, like, how did I get here? It was the last job that I had at Transamerica most recently, where I feel like I found my passion again, and it was really helping give people a voice within the company. And so that's what really propelled me into having the conversations with Lindsay and Brooke, and finding my seat on the bus with the Restoration Project, and where I can make a difference with the companies and organizations and individuals that we partner with.
At the time of the start of the pandemic, I was doing community development and overseeing sponsorships for VenueWorks of Cedar Rapids. The majority of the staff of VenueWorks of Cedar Rapids was furloughed. And I spent the next year just kind of taking a break from my career and focusing on our family. I have young children, and so obviously they're going through a lot of changes and just kind of trying to navigate everything. And during that time, I hired Lindsay, and Lindsay and Brooke have been friends of mine for years, but I hired Lindsay professionally as a coach to help me figure out, okay, so when I do return to my career, exactly what do I want to do? Because it's kind of a similar theme, hearing from the other ladies, just wanting to really focus on finding my true purpose. Suddenly one day she asked me, would you like to join our team? So that was just so exciting, because I didn't know, I don't personally coach. So I would have loved to have joined the team or asked to join the team before, but I didn't know that there was a role for me. And at that time, I think things just aligned that that they were in need of someone to do business development. And then the events that we do are so magical, because they bring organizations and individuals together to do the work together and connect, versus going into an organization or working with an individual. These people are coming together alongside and kind of sharing these experiences.
Very similar. I had grown up in a corporate environment that had kind of been my only profession. When I made a career transition, I was fortunate enough to be able to work with Lindsay for individual coaching. And through that process with her, really was kind of rocked in a way I didn't expect, and did a lot of reflection. And that's very positive, Lindsay, just for you. Was kind of left with the same kind of unrest feeling within myself of I don't think I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. And then, Lindsay and I were chatting, and I would drop little breadcrumbs just to kind of put the reel out, see what was up. This team is incredible.
Thank you.
So it sounds like in some way you all kind of knew each other, or had some connection to each other before you joined. And that kind of illustrates the importance of having a network of people, and having people who can help you grow in your career. Because in many ways the work you're doing now is also the work that was, that others helped you do to get to where you are. Is spirituality an important part of this experience for all of you?
Yeah, one of our core values is connect to something greater, Sam. So it definitely is an important part, and we try to meet everyone where they are, right? So 2 of my best friends are atheists, and I love having those conversations with them. It's connect to something greater to us can mean 1,000 things, but it is that metaphysical, we're all connected in some way, even if it's just that you believe that you're connected to humanity and want to do the best for humanity, Yeah.
Brooke, as I understand it, entrepreneurship kind of came naturally to you. it was kind of the waters that you always swam in. And I wonder if you could kind of talk a little bit about that and whether you had a mentor or mentored anyone along the way.
Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It's a lot of work. It is also very lonely. What I quickly learned once I opened the coffee shop was there is no more training, and there is no more training, and there is no more training, and there is no more training. So everything that I was upset about when I worked in corporate America, like, oh my gosh, like more training, all of a sudden I was like, oh, it's just me, and I have to make the decisions, all the decisions, including when to clean the toilets and the bathrooms, that sort of thing. So you quickly realize, hopefully, that you need to lean on others. Everyone thought, and many still think to this day, that I'm Superwoman and I do all the things because I can do all the things. And the truth is that I'm not Superwoman and I can't do all the things. And I wrecked a big piece of me by not reaching out to people to help me. And that was one thing that feeling like the coffee shop was a failure was really, it wasn't a failure, but I failed myself in not reaching out for help and support. Since joining Lindsay, she's the complete opposite. She has had mentors and coaches and healers, and I mean, her whole life. And that is one thing that I have learned from her as a business owner is I now have mentors and coaches.
A lot of people are prone to feeling like they have to do it all themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not true. And we can do ourselves a disservice, by not asking for help when we really need it.
Well, Kim and I were just talking about this morning. The perception of us being weak, and that's honestly, Sam, for some people, the name, the Restoration Project is like, I don't need to be restored. And those people, it's like, I just want to put your little face in my hands and say, friend, this is not about being broken or needing help. It's about wanting to be your best. And none of us can do that on our own because we're in it. We can't see it. But we want to feel free people of that. It's not necessarily about needing help. It's about the desire to want to be your best. And none of us can be our best without being refined by other people. Yeah. And you got to be willing to open up and let others in to do that and help you do that.
Heidi, in your bio on the website, you mentioned that you've been fortunate to have mentors and coaches at pivotal points to guide you along your leadership journey. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about who some of those people are and how they helped you.
I have had formally mentorship through some of my corporations, but also informally. I am a firm believer in diversity of thought. And I feel like that is the value that a lot of my mentors have brought me. Being a female in somewhat of a corporate dominated organization, I've had a lot of male mentors intentionally to help guide me by giving me that diversification of thought. But I think it all comes down to like the trust that you have with those people and your ability to open up and to understand and to want to learn from them. So when I think about my earlier mentorships in my career, I was very surface until I got to a point where I was ready to get the feedback when I needed it. And I still to this day have at least a handful of mentors from a variety of walks of life, from a variety of geographic locations, male, female, that still continue to pour into me on a very regular basis.
I mean, I was a big in Big Brothers Big Sisters, so I had a little for 9 years. She just graduated high school this last year. So that has been what's so cool about that, and why I'm so passionate about working with kids is you learn so much. You learn as the mentor. They teach you so much, and they say the best way to learn something is try to teach somebody else how to do it. That experience was so rich for me that I will always want to pay it forward in that way and keep learning and growing. Kim and I are running a program at Co College with some freshmen students right now, and the things we're learning from them. It's just like, I'm inspired by the fact that many of them are using like their YouTube time to look up inspirational speakers, and it's not just garbage that they're filling their brains with, which is, you know, because it was like we would ask them like, who's your favorite speaker, and most of them could name it off the top of their head, like who is inspiring them. And then, you know, we're learning what are the coolest video games and all those kind of that make us cool to so that we can, when we work with kids, we don't sound totally out of touch, but
It's your Fortnite.
yes.
You've made TikToks?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, but the cool thing about that, and I don't know if we just have a special group at Co, but man, they're really okay with showing up fully as who they are.
At some point, we all kind of start off being our real authentic selves before we kind of are, you know, pushed on by the world. And that's kind of how we all end up trying to be who we think others want us to be.
Yeah, we peel those onions back, Sam. I mean, that starts in childhood, right? Because like I grew up in it, my dad was abusive. So I had that like playful dream side of me, which is why I intentionally picked dream builder. My coach even said, I don't really know if you want to use the word dream. And I'm like, I need that playfulness because I shut that part of myself down at 7 years old, and I'm reawakening her, and there's magic in her that I need to learn from. And so we talk about what is your childhood experience. Even if you had the best childhood, there were things in your childhood that shaped why you are the way you are and why you think the way you think. And then put on top of that cultural conditioning and what success should mean. And all of us have that story, you know, of it should look up and to the right. And that's why we're inspired by Sarah, who started the Quit Bus a lot earlier than the rest of us, to put what really matters first. Like, she is a role model for us in what a connected and grounded human looks like and what it means to put your family first. She definitely leads our team from that aspect.
Yeah. And Sarah, I can imagine that a lot of the clients that you work with can really relate to your story.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay. That's very kind. It did not come easy. The first time I quit the traditional path, if you will, when you talk about the conditioning that takes place and we as adults, we start to care more what other people think. I am the classic recovering achiever. And that has taken a long time for me to knock that off my shoulder, because I always had practical Patty on one shoulder and Sarah the achiever on the other shoulder. And those two personalities put together is a tornado. And I couldn't live in that tornado without going nutty. To this day, the achiever still comes back and tries to jump back on my shoulder. And I really have to be very, very conscious to not let that creep back into my soul, because truly crushing of just, it could take me down. It can certainly help me achieve, and I can tackle a challenge, and I can pile more on my list, and I can take on everything I think I can take on and make more money and blah, blah, blah. But that's not really what long-term, that's not what I want. And I remember the first time, Sam, that I had quit my gig. I had just had our second child, and I was at home and taking some time off from work. And I remember sitting at the kitchen table in the middle of the day, and I had just come back from a coffee, like a networking coffee. I don't even drink coffee. And I came back and I was like, I went to another coffee date and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And I was sitting at the kitchen table, and my husband came home, and I think I was sitting like this. And he said, are you all right? And I said, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? I need to know what I'm doing and where I'm going and where I'm headed. And, here's that achiever, like creeping back into my soul again. And he said, Sarah, you don't have to be doing anything. You can just be, and just hang for a second. You've been doing for a very long time, and you don't have to do all the time. And so I had to take a lot of time off to unwind Sarah the Achiever.
Yeah, finding that the way to silence your inner not
Jerk.
necessarily negative. Well, yeah. But I mean, the sides of yourself that push you in ways that maybe aren't healthy, you know, coping mechanisms that we've learned throughout our lives that, take some time to unwork.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jessica, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how the ideas of the Restoration Project work with building communities and bringing people together.
Being able to bring people together to experience the process and experience and lean in and do the work together has created, I mean, in just the short time we've been doing it, such meaningful experiences for people. We're hearing feedback. For example, we launched courageous leadership workshops in December. And so we had about 120 people at both events from about 55 to 60 different organizations at both events that we've done so far. We did one in February. And just the feedback we've received from, I mean, so we'll have people from different organizations together at tables. And Brooke and Lindsay will lead everyone through a process depending on what the theme or the topic is. It just kind of aligns with the season that we're in at that time of year. And the feedback we've gotten is just it just really excites me because it's, people that are doing the work on their own, but also sharing, having small group table discussions. And then we kind of take some time to share outward. I mean, we're getting nuggets from each other, right? Think best practices, concepts, ideas, realizations that people are coming to even right there in the room. And it's just that much more of a meaningful experience. And I think that, over the past 2 years, we've all experienced a lot of disconnect and a lot of isolation. To be able to see people coming together again and just on that deeper level to reconnecting in a way that's so much more meaningful than it ever was.
Yeah, getting together with people in person instead of through a computer screen. Because I think we're all craving those kind of, relationships and experiences. Now, I wonder if you could talk about, I mean, this is kind of an open question, but Lindsay, you mentioned a lot, like we're not therapists, we're not, medical professionals or anything like that, and do you ever have to sort of overcome that nagging thought in the back of your mind that says, well, who am I to be giving this advice? And if so, how do you overcome that?
So it hit me. I had that exact conversation with my coach as I started deciding to launch this on my own back in 2019. And I said those exact words, Sam, who am I to help anybody? Because I can't even help myself, And he literally said to me, when will you ever be healed enough to help somebody else? And it's like, you're right. I will never think that I have arrived to that place. So he said, so you're going to take your ability to help anyone away until then. And so I think all of us have to remind each other of the value we have that we're adding to people's lives and how far we've come. And I think the key for us is we don't have answers for people. We are trying to help people find their inner teacher, so we're trying to help them on their own healing journey, and we walk beside them and we ask the questions and we give different ideas and perspectives, but it's their life and it's their journey and it's their work to do. We just create that space and that opportunity. Same with the organizations. We tell our clients all the time, you're the one that knows the work, but we'll come in and give different frameworks and different questions and different perspectives that help us get to the root of what's going on here and help us get to the right place. But we use the term co-creative. It's a very co-creative process. We're not a doctor writing a prescription on a pad.
Yeah, because each person is different. Each organization has its own culture, and there's not really a one size fits all solution.
And I think too, to add to that, I think we're all on this team committed to doing our own work and realizing that it's never finished. We're all committed to continuously doing the work and growing together. And so, and helping people along the way while we're also doing the work.
Yeah.
Kim, if you're there, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about maybe how things have changed for you in the 2 or 3 weeks that you've been part of this organization. Do you feel that, is it what you expected, and how are you different? Kim, if you're there, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about maybe how things have changed for you in the 2 or 3 weeks that you've been part of this organization. Do you feel that, is it what you expected, and how are you different?
Yeah, and apologies, I was transitioning to the car because in the spirit of work-life balance, I'm in the pickup line. So yeah.
Yeah, if anyone else, Sarah bugged out too. So if anyone else needs to go, please.
Yeah.
It's been a very refreshing adjustment from what I have been used to, because it's so meaningful. I mean, not even just the work that I'm doing for myself personally. I think that's really incredible. And the way that Lindsay and Brooke hold us all accountable to doing that work. It's also what we are able to then offer other people. When you take care of yourself, you can take care of other people better. So yeah, it's been beautiful. It's been challenging. And it's honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I can say that with full confidence.
I know you don't prescribe any solutions, but if there's something that keeps coming up for you in your interactions with clients.
Limiting beliefs, going back to who are we? How do we show up each and every day? A lot of us have and carry those limiting beliefs that we truly are getting in our own way. And so some common limiting beliefs, right? I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. And so therefore, because I don't think that I'm enough and because I don't think I'm worthy, I'm going to say yes to like everything because I want to be considered good. So for me, that word no came up as my word in 2017. And that was, I'm going through that again now, actually. So having to say no to things, yep, that I can't do it all. So what's my motivation for saying yes?
I would say too, my number one, especially coming off the pandemic, is getting people to think about individually and organizationally, what does success mean to me? There's so many organizations that are having to make hard trade-offs between, we've grown for 20 years. And now because our people are exhausted and the market is not what it was, we're not going to see that growth. And what does that mean? And that just wrecks people's idea of success. And I was grateful that we have a client that was willing to stand up in front of their board and have the conversation about, we can deliver the 6% growth you need, but it will cost us these people that have been long-term. So we need to have that conversation. Are we going to burn people out and deal with the long-term consequences of that? Or are you okay with us not growing at this rate? And just witnessing leaders willing to have those courageous conversations is something, and they don't, I think that's what we have been able to do, is come in beside them and affirm, yep, you're on the right track. This is not possible. And let's talk about what the reality is and help them paint that picture so that we can make the right decision and not just continue to burn people out or burn ourselves out. Right.
I guess with that, we can call it an afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lindsay and Brooke and Jessica. Thank you to Kim and Heidi and Sarah, who have had to utilize
30 hour is upon us.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah. This work-life balance is exactly what you were talking about. So it's very important, and I really appreciate your time. So thank you all so much.